In its bid to field the presidential candidate for the 23 elections, the All Progressives Congress continues to dangle the carrot before former President Goodluck Jonathan in the hope that he will dump the People's Democratic Party for the ruling party. Talks of Jonathan's defection to the APC started last year after some governors of the ruling party visited him at his residence in Abuja. Also, on Wednesday, the APC National Secretary, Akpanudoedehe, said the former president will be welcome to the party and will be allowed to contest for the presidency in 2023 if he joins the APC. Akpanudoedehe's statement came on the heels of heightened rumours that Jonathan was about to decamp to the APC. However, the former president, through his spokesperson, Ikechukwu Eze, dismissed such claims, saying that the former president had no intention of leaving the PDP. Political pundits believe that the APC has been trying to entice President Jonathan with a presidential ticket in order to dampen the presidential ambition of the national leader of the party, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Former President Jonathan, a Southerner, is also seen as the preferred choice because if he emerges president in 2023, he will serve out his constitutional term limit of 2 terms and pave the way for a candidate of northern extraction to emerge by 2027. Well, joining us now from our Abuja studio to explain the ruling party's enduring cat and mouse game with the former president is Honorable Musa Sarkin Adar, a member of the APC and a member representing the Goron-Yogada Federal Constituency in Sokoto State in the House of Representatives. Welcome, Honorable Adar, and good morning.
Good morning, Dr. Ruben and your team there.
Good morning.
Good morning, Nigerians.
Thank you for joining us. Well, very quickly, I think that my introduction was self-explanatory enough. We've been hearing stories for some time now that the APC is not just, motivating, influencing people to cross from the main opposition party into its fold. The latest, the newest member of your party being Femi Fani-Kayode, who was welcomed yesterday. But our interest is former President Goodluck Jonathan. 2 days ago, it was reported that he too had defected to the APC, but that was corrected by his spokesperson to say that this was a piece of fake news. But apparently, it looks like the APC wants former President Jonathan in the APC. Is that so? And why is the APC so interested in a man that they spent the better part of the lead up to the 2015 elections criticizing and condemning, and whose administration they blame for virtually everything in Nigeria? And now it's said to be the beautiful bride that your party wants by any means possible. If you could help us shed the light on this.
Thank you, Dr. Ruben, and let me share this with you. The rumors that you have said earlier, which you said has been dismissed by the spokesperson of the former President Goodluck Jonathan, are no longer rumors anymore. Be that as it is, the bottom line is this: a party is free and can be willing to woo whoever it thinks will add value to its side. And the person who has been approached to join a particular party is also free to make his choice, whether to remain where he is or to decamp to the other party that is wooing him to come, just like it has happened with Femi Fani-Kayode yesterday. And before President Jonathan decides to refute the rumor that has been flying the news media throughout last week, there are certain factors that we should look into. When you mention some governors of the APC visited President Jonathan sometime early this year or late last year, and when you also said the secretary of the APC have also expressed their willingness as party, if President Jonathan joined the APC, he's free to contest for the presidency under the party. We shall look at certain factors. First, in a democratic setting, of a multi-party system, which we practice in Nigeria. Remember, as of today, we have over 20 registered political parties. Before, it was about 70 when INEC registered those that could not perform, could not meet the constitutional and electoral requirements, they were delisted. But until today, I know we have more than political parties. That makes it multi-party. So, if we have two strong parties that have emerged to be strong, APC leading and PDP following up, each of the two parties must have adopted some strategies that it thinks will add chances of its success in the forthcoming election, which is fast approaching. 2023 is very much around the corner. Next year, 2022, by this time around, we should be talking of the primaries of both parties to fill in the presidential, senatorial, gubernatorial, and other elected positions. It might be in the thinking of APC strategists that we need to have people that can add value, electoral value, and those that can add electoral value for the first time should be the big names before we go to the grassroots. The grassroots are always at the tail end during the general election campaign. So APC should not be faulted if it decides to look for President Jonathan to join it and also to contest for the presidency or to be a father figure in the party. For me, President Jonathan, like I said, is also free to make a choice to join the APC, especially having been respected and recognized. This was somebody who contested election against the APC in 2015 and lost, and he humbly accepted the result and peacefully handed over power, and he took his sabbatical, and until recently he started coming back into political limelight, and he has established good relationship with the incumbent President Muhammadu Buhari, and President Buhari has also played a fatherly role by accepting him, by assigning him so many chances of visiting at any time he wishes, and also even encouraging him to be appointed as envoy of the ECOWAS and the AU to other countries that have political crises. All these are factors that we should look into. But I do not wish to subscribe to your idea of saying if Jonathan comes in, the APC is going to jettison the APC national leader, Asuwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. That should be far away from the truth. If the APC zoned its presidential candidate to the south, I don't think it will micro-zone it. It is going to be to the entire south. Remember, there are three geopolitical zones in the south: southwest, southeast, and the south-south. It is now at the level of the south that they shall now sit and decide which of the geopolitical zones should take the slot. The southwest have had its shot by President Olusegun Obasanjo of 8 years and President Johnson for 6 years, and now I just had my colleague Senator Abaribe making a case for the Igbo presidency in the southeast. However, politics is a game of strategy and a game of number. For now, the bottom line is first favoring the southwest, which has populated the APC, because all out of the 6 governors, 5 governors, all as 5 states are under the leadership of the APC. Then the south-south recently, we have the governor of Cross River State who have defected to the APC, and lately also the governor of Ebonyi State who defected also to the APC in the southeast. Earlier on, the APC have won the Imo governorship. So anybody who wishes, any zone which wishes to aspire to lead this country in the form of presidency come 2023 should go back to their rural lines. They should go and strategize and look at which is the way forward. You don't expect when majority of you are in other party and you think of getting a political, a presidential candidate of the party that you wish to take simply because you are making agitations. Agitations are allowed and agitations are right, but it must not be in the wrong way. So my advice here and my take in this is Bola Ahmed Tinubu still remain the front line presidential aspirant of the APC from the south generally. Then, of course, if President Johnson joined in the APC, he's going to give Bola Ahmed Tinubu a good fight. Then whoever also wishes, if the Southeast will now come together and think of joining APC en masse to populate the APC, then they can make their case that they have never made a president before. And this time around, their president in the Southwest and South-South should give way for them, for the first time for them to produce the presidential candidate of this country. But if they think they're remaining in PDP is where they think they can get the president, they are free to remain in the PDP. But they should remember, the PDP is now depopulated across the country. For example, in the whole of the Northwest, the PDP had only one governor, the governor of Sokoto State, my home state. And in the Northeast, the PDP had only two governors, the governor of Bauchi State and governor of Taraba State. And in the North Central, the PDP had no single governor. And in Southwest, the PDP had only one governor. So they should now look at this and look at the number of the senators and members of the House of Reps that they have in the National Assembly, and also members of the State Assembly they have backward. And even let them go by their registers. They have registered their members. What is the population of their membership in the party? Politics is a game of number. Now it's moving to a game of strategy. No matter how you are populated, you must also have an adequate and workable strategy that can give you advantage over your opponent. So with this my opening, I would like to stay here and wait for your next response and the next question.
Well, you'll have to wait till after a short break when we'll be back with more with you. Please stay with us. Welcome back to Morning Show here on Arise News. We're still with Honorable Musa Sarkin Adar, a member of APC, as I'm sure you heard before the break. You were speaking, Honorable, as a politician from the perspective of a member of the ruling party. What about the perspective of the electorate? Although sometimes I doubt that that matters. All of this conversation brings to mind, well, to my mind, a really excellent book by Teresa Amato called Grand Illusion: The Myth of Voter Choice in a Two-Party Tyranny. Can we talk about that title and about the American electoral system? But from the Nigerian perspective, do we actually have two major parties? It seems from the perspective of the public that it's just one party and people go in and out really as it suits them. You've talked about politics being a game of numbers, and that's really all that matters, not ideology, not credibility, and not integrity. What is your comment on that?
I have started with saying a number of factors, and I just mentioned one or two of the factors. I have not concluded the others. I'm coming to the politics of principles, politics of ideology. You see, I'm sorry to say, in Nigeria, the politics of ideology is almost absent. It's absent in the sense that both the parties, APC, PDP, ABGA, and the rest, they do not have significant difference in their approach and in their ideology. Why? Because until now, the politics of this country is dominated by mostly personal interests of the aspirants. Everybody wishes to win an election. Nobody is willing just to participate, to contribute and develop democracy in the country, but rather to win the election. And everybody believes it is only when he wins an election that he occupies an office that he makes a contribution, which I stand to disagree with. However, you cannot go against the tide of a river. The majority of this country, not only politicians, generally, people go by the moment. Once you are off the moment, people leave you. Even you in the media, you choose your people, those that you interview, mostly based on a certain background and certain position. Somebody, for example, now I'm invited, I think, because I'm a member of the House of Representatives. Maybe tomorrow, if I leave the House of Representatives and I'm not in any position, I may find it difficult to be invited. I'm sorry, I'm not accusing you. But from the, I can say this with reference, when I chaired the Committee on Electoral Matters in 2007, 2011, every now and then, I was the darling of almost all the media, all the major houses. When I was moved to chair the Committee on Land Transport, I hardly get invited by any other media. And when I did not become a chairman in 2015, 2019, obviously, absolutely no media invited me for anything. So this is a trend. of this country. So for this reason, we should not accuse and you should not condemn the political actors' behaviors of trying to be in a party where they think they can win election. However, that's not I'm advocating. Anybody has his choice, and that's what the beauty about democracy. You can choose to follow line A and succeed or lose, and you can decide to follow line B or take a middle course. Whatever it is unfortunate that ideology is not given much emphasis in Nigerian political system. And we need to have that. For example, the Americans have the Democrats and Republicans, and you hardly had anybody decamping from Democrat to the Republican or Republican to Democrat, and even when he lost election or even when he is denied the chance that he thinks he could have gotten. For example, the recent the 2016 presidential primaries in the U.S., when majority of the ranking senators and majority of the party caucus were openly condemning and rejecting President Trump. When he got the ticket, some of them also said they will not vote for him. And however, they remain in Republican. They did not decamp. So we are far away from reaching that, but with time, we are going to reach that level. Don't forget, America's democracy is over 200 years, and Nigeria's democracy is just now 21 years. And as time will progress, maybe in the next 9 years, or by 2030, we'll start to see that people stop decamping from one party to another. And what I'm saying is people will now remain to contest an election even when they know they are going to lose. For example, now, the PRP is still a party. And it is the only party that was established since 1979. Of all the parties, the MP and the UP and GMPP and MPP have all oozed away. But the PRP still remains. But who are the people in PRP? I think those are the people of ideology. And I don't think they are getting what they are expecting to get the response from the people. So this is a factor that the public enlightenment agencies such as the media should now give emphasis on, to emphasize on educating people to know, to be on a political party based on an ideology, on a personal principle.
Okay. I mean, you've said a lot, and I appreciate you for your honesty, because you've honestly painted a picture. That's the way politics runs in Nigeria. But I'll ask two questions. You said interest. I'd like to change the word interest there to money, because really it's about money. It's who gets what, when, and how. That's politics in Nigeria. It's about money. It's about who gets the fat, big government contracts. It's about who gets the arsenal, the financial arsenal to probably run the next election. And that's how politicians behave, who can steal what or who can get what. But all of this is at the expense of people. All of this is at the expense of rising public debts, bad leadership, bad governance, deplorable healthcare, deplorable system in general, massive insecurity, poverty in the land. Please, I'd like to ask you as a politician, at what point does your conscience get to prick you in all of this? At what point does your conscience say, it's enough, let's do for the people?
Are you done?
Yes, sir.
Can I respond?
Yes, sir.
Yes. The way you have described it is exactly how it is. We have monetized the political system in Nigeria. And it is a general phenomenon, both by those seeking elective positions and the electors themselves. For you to become a party executive at ward, local government, state, and national level, you must part away with money. Ditto, when you come to seek for any elective post within the national elections, from state assembly to national assembly, from the governor to the presidential, you have to part away with huge money. Not only that, the electors and the electoral process officials are all involved in these issues. Now, let me give you an example. If any party, from APC to PDP to PRP to AFGA to any other party, if it sends its committee to go to a particular state to conduct primary elections or to conduct congresses, the members of such committee goes to the person who's in charge as seen as the leader of the party. And when they go there, they do his bidding, especially if he's a governor elected, a sitting governor. They go to him, and in return, something will happen. And as such, he will have upper hand. He will determine who becomes what. And all those that are not in his good books will not get that opportunity. This is a collective responsibility for Nigerians, especially you, the press. You should stand up, enlighten people to desist from collecting money before they elect a person. Not only during the election, even after somebody is elected. Every now and then, requests are made, especially to the members of the parliament. They are people that are more vulnerable. They are the people that are more victimized because we don't have any shield. At any time, anybody from our constituency wants to see us, he can see us at the door of our houses, at our office doors, even in the marketplace. He can stop you, honorable or distinguished. I'm here, I have this. Especially now that with social media. Somebody will just write you a text message that I need something from you, and he will send you his account number. And failure to respond positively will earn you very imprintable names. And as such, we must struggle hard to make sure we maintain that. Otherwise, you can't even go home. So this is a collective panacea, and it is an ill that we must all stand up together to correct. And don't forget, the monetization of politics did not start by us. It started way back from 1979 when I was in secondary school. I participated in election. I know what happened then. And some people were saying it started even before the 1979 election, but it gets worse now. And all of us, the players and the onlookers, we are worried about that. How do we change it? This government is making effort. For example, of all the previous government, there's no government that has budgeted enough or sufficient money for provision of infrastructure like this government, with all sorts of social interventions to reduce poverty. But unfortunately, this money did not reach where they are meant to. They have not reached where they are meant to. Look at the provision of the 2017-2018 budget. Look at the provision of 2017-2019 and 2019-2020 and 2020-21.
Well, Honorable Adar.
If all the monies that were budgeted, let me finish. I'm not campaigning for APC. Let me finish. I'm just trying to put a clear perspective. If all this money were utilized properly, there wouldn't be problem being faced now. There won't be problem being faced now. And look at the monies budgeted for the security agencies. If all this money that have been given from 2015 to date were utilized properly and effectively, wouldn't have been the situation of the security wouldn't have been so worse as it is today. Let us be frank and admit. Let's only not talk politics. We should also talk other developmental issues. And all of us are living witnesses. This have happened, and it's still happening. Every cover given must be accounted for. And it is you, the press, who should champion this. You should champion it.
Well, Honorable Adar, we have just about a minute to go.
Members.
We have just about a minute to go.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Yes, I want to ask you. I want us to go back to where we started from. Now that the APC, as you have confirmed, is still win former President Jonathan, don't you think that the starting point for the APC is to publicly apologize to President Jonathan for all the attacks on him and all those efforts to discredit him, now that he's now considered a very important man to help the APC? Shouldn't you start with an apology as a party? Briefly.
I don't subscribe to your idea to apologize to President Jonathan. In campaigning, whenever somebody attacked you and you attacked him, don't forget President Johnson equally attacked President Buhari. There was no bad unprintable names that President Buhari was not called open. His credentials were questioned. His integrity was questioned. Everything bad about humanity was labeled against President Buhari. So if there's going to be an apology, it should be dual way. Jonathan should apologize to President Buhari, and now there will be a reconciliation among the two. They are our leaders. They should reconcile among themselves, and they should apologize to each other on personal basis, and then now they can come and tell the nations, we have reconciled and we apologize for what we have said to each other before. But I don't subscribe that APC ought to apologize to President Jonathan before he joins the APC, or even after he joined the APC. Don't forget, I said it is because democracy has allowed anybody the free will to move to anywhere he likes. So if he moves to the APC, it is his personal choice. And then now, if he decides he can give a caveat like you are advocating, you are his former spokesperson, you can advise him.
Well, Honorable Sarkin Adar, thank you very much for joining us on the morning show.